You're traveling through another dimension. A dimension not only of sight and sound, but of mind. A journey into a wondrous land whose boundaries are those of imagination. Your next stop, the Twilight Zone.
Thank you, Mrs. Dunphy. I'll be back shortly.
You're going out?
I'm afraid so.
But you've only just returned.
Unfortunately, that is the nature of my work.
Another business trip?
The most important of all. But first, there are arrangements to be made.
I've prepared your afternoon meal.
I'm sure it will keep.
Can you not make these arrangements by telephone?
No. Some things can't be left to chance. In the meanwhile, follow my instructions precisely, to the letter, Mrs. Dunphy. Do I make myself clear?
I believe so.
You believe so? Then let me make it absolutely clear. Sit down for a moment.
But if you're on your way...
It's necessary that you understand. And the only way to be sure is to tell you how it began. Please.
If you wish, sir.
I must warn you, it's an incredible story. I, of all people, know that. So incredible that you won't believe me at first. But I'm going to tell you everything. Then you will believe. Because you must. You must believe. Do you know Central Europe?
Europe? Only as a child, sir.
It started there many years ago, after the First World War. I was on a walking tour of France, Belgium, and Germany. I decided to travel alone with only a small pack. The confidence of youth. Germany was magical then, a place of valleys and mountains and swift, dark rivers. There was nowhere else like it, a fertile land where everything grew tall and straight out of the earth. I was struck by the richness of the soil, the verdancy of the hills. Stepping across the border from Belgium, where the mustachioed guards saluted like tin soldiers, I entered a different world. Everywhere I looked, a swelling green ocean. On the farthest hills, tall, ancient buildings of stone. Estates, monasteries, castles, or what have you. Some of them in ruins. I stood a moment at the border and watched the hawks circling above, wondering how such a miracle could be. It was as if I had passed through an invisible door from a musty room into a magical kingdom of winds and light. But so much can change in an afternoon. By nightfall, clouds filled the sky and the storm moved in to darken the landscape. The nearest village was miles away. I was unprepared, dressed for a stroll up the Champs-Élysées, perhaps. In minutes, I was drenched and chilled to the bone. Then I saw it, a medieval castle, bombed almost to ruins, sitting like a broken fingernail atop Schwarzhof Mountain. I came to a wall of gray stone. There was an iron gate. Please! Please! Someone! Please let me in!
A story told years ago by a man who recalled it from his youth. Fortunately, or perhaps unfortunately, he was never able to put it out of his mind. It begins with a wayfaring traveler. His name is David Ellington, scholar, seeker of truth, and to his dismay, a finder of truth. A man approaching exhaustion, who will confront a problem that has haunted the world since the beginning of time. A man who knocks on a gate, seeking sanctuary, and instead finds that he has just crossed an unmarked border into the far edges of the Twilight Zone.
And now, The Twilight Zone and our story, The Howling Man, starring Fred Willard, with Stacy Keach as your narrator.
I found a rope by the gate and pulled it. Please! Someone!
Yes? What is it?
Let me in.
I'm sorry.
You don't understand. I'm traveling on foot.
We don't allow visitors.
I'm not a visitor. What is this place?
It's called the Hermitage.
And I'm a stranger caught in the storm. Your robe, the cross around your neck. You're a man of God. I'm lost. Don't you understand? Lost.
Very well. Follow me.
Thank you, brother.
You're ill.
I'll be all right. Once I dry out.
This way.
What are these rooms? A barred window in each door. They look like, well, cells.
All are empty now.
I see, but what were they?
Wait here.
What for?
I'll speak to Brother Jerome.
Who? What in the...
Brother Jerome will see you now.
Oh, what was that?
The wind.
Are you sure?
Come.
The room had almost no furnishings. A straw pallet, a rude desk and chair, some books and religious oddments, very stark. The abbot himself was a fierce El Greco painting of a man, stooped and withered, but strong in every part of him. Like the monk who came to the gate, he wore a shepherd's cloak and carried a crooked staff.
Why have you come here?
My name is David Ellington. I got lost in the storm. Then I saw a lantern in the window.
And what is it you want of us?
Want? Only a little shelter, some food.
We cannot help you here. You will have to leave.
You call that a Christian attitude?
Now, Mr. Ellington.
Oh, for the love of... All right, if that's the way you want it. Sorry to have troubled you. Give me a minute. I'll be out of here in...
Brother Christophorus.
Yes?
Carry him out of here. At once.
Right away.
I don't know how long I remained unconscious. When I came to, I was in a primitive cubicle, one of the cells. Walls and ceiling of gray stone, a single small window in the shape of an arch, the floor hard-packed dirt. The monk sat nearby in a chair. I lay under a blanket. Beneath me was a bed of straw. Water!
He lives. God's infinite mercy.
How long have I been here?
9 days, my son.
9 days?
You were very ill. The fever was on you. Brother Jerome said you would die, and he sent me to watch over you. I have never seen a man die. He holds that it is an important teaching, but now I suppose it was not your time.
Sorry to disappoint you.
No, my boy, don't try to rise. You must rest.
What in the name of heaven is that?
In the name of heaven, nothing.
I mean the scream.
Scream?
That.
What?
Are you deaf? That cry, I heard it before. You said it was the wind.
Ah, the wind cleanses the land after a storm.
But it isn't the wind, is it?
I don't understand your meaning.
It's a man.
Careful. You must regain your strength.
There! Don't tell me you didn't hear it.
Perhaps you would like some soup. It's cold, but nourishing.
What I would like, brother, is to leave this place.
I'm afraid that's impossible.
What do you mean?
Only that you're not well enough to travel. And of course, you won't be well enough to travel as long as you think you hear such sounds. Now, the soup.
I don't want it.
Open, please. There. That's better.
Over the next few hours, my strength did return, or at least some of it. I waited until the monk had fallen asleep. Then at last I made my move. The door was held shut by a simple iron bolt. I had only to slide it a few inches without waking him. I was almost free, but I could not remember which way we had come. When I turned into another corridor, I realized I was lost. It was a maze of dark passages and doors. Here, a part of the ruined ceiling was broken away, and I saw that the moon had risen. In the naked light of the moon, I saw one door different somehow from the others. At first, I was not sure why. Then I realized that in place of a bolt, it was held shut by a piece of wood, a mere stick, crooked and curved, like the peculiar staffs carried by the monk and the abbot, only in miniature, no greater in length than my forearm. On this door, in this door alone, a small wooden staff replaced the iron bolt. How odd! I looked through the opening in the door. Inside, a filthy, shadowed hovel. No table or chair, no straw for a bed. It appeared to be empty. What? There was a man, huddled in the corner, holding his knees and rocking, head back like an animal. In the soiled moonlight, I saw his dirty beard, his rotted clothes. Who are you?
Help me.
Stay back.
No, please. In the name of humanity, help me.
But who?
You're not one of them.
No, my name is Ellington. I'm an American. Shh. What are you afraid of?
Them. Listen. Do you hear them coming?
No, but why?
They will look for you. We only have a moment.
You speak as if I'm a prisoner.
Aren't you?
I'm not sure.
Come closer, and I'll explain.
Explain what?
Don't you know what they are? These men of God. They are mad, Mr. Ellington. All of them. Raving mad.
Why do you say so?
I was in the village, in Schwarzhof, doing nothing out of the ordinary, walking the street with my woman. We were holding hands. That is all. Do you see anything wrong with that?
Well, of course not. But what?
We paused to rest by a tree in the shade. And then we kissed. Yes, I admit it. Is it wrong to kiss? Tell me.
Why, no, I don't think so.
You don't think so. I don't think so. But Jerome, that lecherous old fool.
The gaunt man, the one in charge.
So, you have seen him. As I kissed her, a shadow fell over us. We looked up and saw him standing there. I opened my mouth to speak, but before I could utter a word, he raised the wooden staff he carries, so heavy. You've seen it.
Yes.
And he hit me again and again. He smote me like an angry god, or a man who thinks he's God. I woke up here.
No.
I swear. They flogged me with knotted ropes. I asked for food. They would not give it to me. I begged for water. They gave me none. Then they threw me in this filthy room and locked the door.
Well, why?
For revenge. Jerome wanted my woman.
Are you sure?
Yes. That disgusting old man, that fanatic. He wanted her. And when she refused his advances, he took his fury out on me.
Your story, I find it difficult to believe.
Of course you do. That's the strength of the man. He makes his madness seem a harmless thing, the beliefs of a religious zealot. But this is not a religious order, Mr. Ellington. These brothers of truth.
Is that what they're called?
That's what they call themselves. The real truth is they're outcasts, misfits, cut off from the world because the world will not have them. Have you heard of their sect before, of this Hermitage?
No, I haven't.
Mr. Ellington, you must believe me. I don't say they're all evil, only mad. And here, within these walls, they answer to no law but their own.
Wait for me.
Where are you going?
I'll speak to Jerome.
No, you mustn't.
If I remind him that false imprisonment is a crime...
I tell you, he's the greatest maniac of them all. Quick! He's coming. Hide yourself.
Mr. Ellington.
No, no.
Brother Jerome?
I did not know you were well enough to walk.
I still feel weak. Brother Jerome...
Come with me, please.
Look here,
This way. Where were you going?
I was looking for you.
It was unwise for you to wander on your own. The corridors can be treacherous.
Oh, can they? In what way?
The building is very old. One might trip and fall without a torch.
Or go where one is not meant to go, is that it? See something perhaps that you're ashamed of?
I do not know to what you refer.
Don't you? Oh, then you don't know the grounds very well. I saw something just now that violates the law of this country and of humanity. I must ask you...
And I must ask you, Mr. Ellington, to leave the Hermitage at once. We lack proper facilities to care for the ill.
You certainly do.
Arrangements can be made in Schwarzhof.
Just a minute.
No, not a minute. Not an extra second, Mr. Ellington. Now.
I thought you were concerned about my health.
I am.
But now you want me gone regardless. Why?
I have explained that.
You've explained nothing. Based on what I've seen, I question your motives. I question your entire operation here.
You are making assumptions.
I certainly am. Now, look, no one invited me to come here. I realize that. I arrived unexpectedly, and you're not prepared for visitors. But I had no choice. And there is no excuse for your behavior. I suppose it was only a matter of time before you brought out the knotted ropes so that you could flail me or whatever it is you do for amusement.
My son.
I'm not your son!
There are many things you don't understand.
That's right, I don't. So begin with this one. Tell me, why are you in such a hurry for me to leave? What more are you afraid I'll find out?
More?
Besides the man you've got locked up in that cell.
What man is that, Mr. Ellington?
The one we just left. The one who's been screaming his head off.
I am not sure what you're talking about.
That's it, isn't it, brother? Or is he only one of many? Well, it isn't a secret anymore. I know.
And what do you think you know? The chair. Sit. You are still weak.
Brother Jerome, I know very little about this cult of yours, what's permitted within these walls, but I doubt very seriously that you can imprison a man against his will.
That is quite true. We have no such authority.
Then why have you done it?
No man has ever been imprisoned at the Hermitage, Mr. Ellington.
He claims otherwise.
Who claims otherwise?
Who do you think? The man in the cell at the end of the corridor.
There is no man in the cell at the end of the corridor.
I was talking with him.
You are talking with no man.
And you think I'm hallucinating?
Mr. Ellington, you are ill. You still have a fever. In such a state, delirium may cause one to see and hear things that do not exist.
Do you mean to tell me you don't hear that?
Hear what?
Look at me.
Dreams can seem very real.
And honest men make unconvincing liars. The brother who's been caring for me.
Brother Christophorus?
Yes. He has a way of looking at the floor when he tells me I'm imagining things. You look at me, but your voice loses its command.
More imaginings.
I don't know why, but you're both very intent on keeping me away from the truth.
What do you know of the truth?
Which is not only poor Christianity, Brother Jerome, it's poor psychology, because now I'm very curious indeed.
Curiosity is a dangerous thing.
Oh, I was taught it's a sign of intelligence.
There are some things best left alone.
Like sleeping dogs, a nest of snakes. I'll uncover the facts eventually, you know.
Meaning what?
Just what I say. I imagine the local police will be interested to learn that you're keeping a man locked up here.
I tell you, there is no man.
All right, let's forget it. I'll deal with it in my own way.
And what way is that?
However I see fit. It's no concern of yours now. Oh, and I apologize for not dying. Maybe some other time, brother.
Mr. Ellington.
A last word? Bon voyage? Don't bother yourself. I'll make it to the village with no further delay, I assure you.
Mr. Ellington, the prisoner in the cell, it's a delicate matter.
Ah! So you admit it?
A terrible thing. He's violent, dangerous. More dangerous than you know. We are obliged to lock him in the cell. I'm sure you can understand.
I understand that you're still lying to me. Goodbye, Brother Jerome.
Would you really go to the police?
If you were in my place, wouldn't you?
Very well. Close the door, Mr. Ellington. I have told you the truth, but only a part. Now I see that I must tell you the whole of it. May God forgive me.
Then you do hear it.
As I have heard it every hour of every day, for 5 long years.
Why did you lie?
I didn't.
Oh, but I think you did.
And now the skies darken. The storm returns. I should have known. When I told you that no man screamed in the Abbey, I spoke the truth. It is not a man, you see, Mr. Ellington. It is the devil himself.
You're joking with me, aren't you?
No, Mr. Ellington, I am not. Would that I were. It would be so much easier. But the prisoner in the cell, our only prisoner, is in fact Satan.
Oh, come now.
Otherwise known as the fallen angel, Ahriman, Asmodeus, Belial, Diabolus, the devil made manifest. You asked for the truth. Now you have it. Do you believe?
What? Oh, sure.
Now it is you who are lying, Mr. Ellington. You don't believe me at all. To the contrary, you're even more certain of what you've suspected all along, that I am mad. Well, sit down. I will tell you a story. And then we'll see how certain you are of my madness or of anything else. Drink.
What did you say?
Some brandy. For thy stomach and thy infirmities.
No, thank you.
Don't worry. It's not poison. A very old vintage. I'll drink with you.
What is it you wanted to tell me?
I presume, Mr. Ellington, that you consider yourself sophisticated, a worldly man.
Why do you say that?
You're young, rich by your clothes, and reasonably well educated. Harvard?
Yale.
Exactly. Having a last fling before settling into the family business.
How did you...
You are an open book, printed in very large type, with pictures. Of course, you consider us primitive, because we're living in seclusion away from the real world. To you, we're misfits. Please, I know all the theories.
I assure you, brother...
No, Mr. Ellington, it is I who am assuring you that I am not the ignorant fanatic I might seem. I coped with your world for 40 years before I left it, and rather successfully by your standards. The best schools, a degree in philosophy, a job that took me to all the corners of the earth. This beard and this staff and this face represent nothing but a different point of view. If you understand that, then perhaps you will listen to what I have to say with an open mind.
Go on.
5 years ago, there were no screams at the Hermitage. This was simply the bombed-out ruins of a castle belonging to the family Wulfren.
How did you come by it?
Baron Wulfren turned it over to the Brothers of Truth as a gesture of charity. Our task was to tend the great vineyards and save what souls we could by constant prayer.
But this isn't a formal religious order, is it, brother?
We believe that we are recognized by God. Truth is our only dogma. We are committed to it as man's greatest weapon against the devil, who is the father of all lies.
Please, continue. You were tending the vineyards.
At that time, not very long after the Great War, the world was in chaos. Everywhere there was unhappiness, except in the village below.
Really?
For some reason, the people of Schwarzhof refused to yield to despair. They lost none of their faith. They continued, as they had for years, to be honest and God-fearing and happy. The village was a plum to Satan, one he could not resist. So he came here, drawn to it as a moth is to light, and embarked upon a program of corruption.
But you stopped him.
Yes. You see, Mr. Ellington, he made the same mistake you are making now. He underestimated me. He thought he would have no difficulty tempting an old fool. I had him in the cell before he knew what happened.
But if he's the devil, how do you keep him from escaping?
With the staff of truth. The one barrier he cannot pass.
Mm-hmm. And when he first came, just how did you recognize him?
I had seen him before, in every part of the world. Wherever there was sin, wherever there was strife and persecution, there he was also. Sometimes he appeared only as a spectator, a face in the crowd. But he was always there, in all times and places. So you understand now, I trust, why you must say nothing of the things you have seen and heard.
Brother, not that I doubt you, but is it possible that you've made a mistake?
No. Think, Mr. Ellington, of the peace in the world these 5 years. Think of this country now. Is there another like it?
But you haven't put an end to suffering. There's still murders and robberies. Even now, while we talk, people are starving.
The suffering man was meant to endure, my son. We cause much of our own grief and need no help from him. It is the unnatural catastrophes, the great wars, the overwhelming pestilences, the wholesale sinning that we have ended. The world is rebuilding. A great dawn will come.
Enough. You've made your case. I believe you, brother.
Do you? Truly?
I admit I was doubtful at first, but you've convinced me. Absolutely. I promise to keep your secret.
Good. Tomorrow, if you feel well enough, you may leave. For now, let the storm pass over. Brother Christophorus will look after you. If you would, go directly to your room.
I will. Good night, brother, and thank you. I was glad our conversation was over. It was clear that he was quite mad. I thought of his wild beard, his eyes in the flickering candlelight, and I was relieved to be away from him. The devil, indeed. But the storm had returned, and I was not yet fully recovered. I would pass one more night in this place. What, I wondered, should I do before morning comes? The corridor was dank and empty. I felt as though I were the last sane man in an insane world. What Brother Jerome had told me was utter nonsense, the product of a deranged mind. But his belief, his faith, as he called it, was heavy in the air, infecting the very stones. To bring it down would require outside help, but perhaps I could start that very night with an act of pure, unselfish humanity. Psst! Are you in there?
Where else would I be? I thought you weren't coming back.
I had a meeting with Brother Jerome.
What did he say? He lied to you, didn't he?
He said that you're
Go on. What?
the devil.
The devil. Oh, that's good. That's wonderful. What a dream for an old man. Himself a devil. To catch Satan and lock him away in this God-forsaken place. You don't believe him, do you?
Of course not.
Then help me.
If I let you out now, while they're awake, they may catch you before you leave the grounds.
There's always the possibility. But another hour here, you don't know what it's like.
Look here, why don't I just go and get the authorities?
When?
As soon as morning comes. I'll find the path to the village and...
No! It would be my death warrant. The authorities will return and find nothing. Who knows what will have happened to me by then? Jerome is mad, but he's shrewd, too. He won't leave any evidence behind.
Then, what can we do?
You must let me out now.
There doesn't seem to be a lock on your cell, only this small shepherd's staff. You could almost reach through the bars and remove it yourself.
I've tried. It's wedged in such a way that I can't get my fingers around it.
Here, I think I can get it.
Quickly.
Wait. Brother Christophorus.
There you are. Brother Jerome was fearful. You might lose your way.
No, nothing of the kind.
Come along. I'll light the candle. There is bread and water on the table, and more soup to give you strength.
Thank you.
Rest now, Mr. Ellington. Remember, you're still a very sick man.
I'm feeling much better.
Nonetheless, Brother Jerome has asked me to watch over you.
Really, that isn't necessary.
It is my duty. The chair is sturdy, and the candle is fresh.
Wait a minute. Why are you locking the door?
To protect you.
But you're locking us both in.
Never fear. I have the key. It is not long till morning.
But...
Sleep, Mr. Ellington. You are a weary traveler. Soon you'll be back with your own kind. What a comfort, eh? You will forget all you have seen here.
I watched the monk as he sat heavily in the chair. I was a prisoner, no doubt about it. How much longer, I wondered, for both prisoners? What if the morning came and Brother Jerome chose not to release me as he promised? I might remain here for... How long had the Howling Man been in prison? 5 years? Lord, I imagined my beard growing, my hair wild, until I too was starved, crying to be let out, no one would come. Who knew I was here? I'd drop off the face of the earth, forgotten, presumed dead. Brother Christophorus had the keys around his neck, but until he fell asleep, I was at his mercy. It was almost dawn when I dared to move. I had to be careful not to wake him. Yes, I finally had the key. I locked Brother Christophorus in the cell. There was no time to spare. I knew I must release the Howling Man before I left the Hermitage. You come. Good. What do you want me to do?
Lift off the wooden bolt.
Are you sure this is all that holds you in? A small carved stick?
Yes, lift it off, I tell you.
But surely you could have forced the door and broken it.
Please! There is no time for talk. In the name of mercy, if you fail now, they'll kill both of us.
All right.
Hurry.
I'm trying. I just need to slide it out of the latch.
Mr. Ellington, where have you gone?
Hurry! Hurry!
A moment.
Stop him! Stop him!
Now!
Brother Jerome, come quickly.
I am free.
Stop! I command you.
The other way. Now.
Here is the gate.
It's locked.
I must get over the wall.
I'll put my hands together. A hoist. Step up.
Let not Satan escape us, O Lord. Let him not sow the seeds of evil throughout the world. I call upon you.
Up, now. He stepped in my hands and climbed the gate. Now, reach down and give me your hand. Help me.
Help you? Help you, mere mortal? Are you mad?
And I saw not the foot of a man before me, but a cloven hoof. In a flash of lightning, with those horns grown suddenly from his forehead, then he turned and vanished in the moonlight.
I am sorry for you, my son.
What was he?
As long as you live, you will remember this night. He is gone.
Who? Tell me.
Even now, you're not sure. But you will be. And then you'll know, Mr. Ellington. You'll know who it was you loosed upon the world.
The monks were mad, I thought, or the Howling Man was mad, or I was, or the whole world. But Brother Jerome was correct. I could not forget. And when the pictures of the carpenter from Bromau Alm Inn appeared in the papers, I grew uneasy, for I felt I'd seen this man before. And when the carpenter invaded Poland, I was sure. And when the world was plunged into war and cities had their entrails blown asunder, and that pleasant land I had visited became a place of hate and death, I decided to spend the rest of my life tracking down the one I had released. Each night I dreamed of it, Mrs. Dunphy, and I kept dreaming through all the wars since, until this week. It took years, decades, but eventually I found him. And so the nightmare is finally over. Again.
I see.
And now, Mrs. Dunphy, I'm going to see about a chartered plane to have him transported back to Germany. Brother Christophorus is in charge now. I have already written him. He will be very relieved.
And what you found, it is here?
Have no fear. As long as the staff of truth is in place, he cannot leave the next room. The staff is very small, but very powerful. So you see why you must not, under any circumstances, go near that door. Nothing in the world is more important. Do you understand?
I believe so.
Oh, he'll do a bit of howling, but never mind that. It's a trick. I'll return as soon as possible. Until then, keep that door locked.
Yes, sir. Oh, my. Such stories.
Come here. Please. You must listen. He is insane. Let me out, I beg you. Let me out.
Who's there? Behind that door. Are you all right? Sir, can you hear me?
The little piece of wood, the staff. Remove it, please.
I don't know if I should.
Please, take it off the door. I implore you, please. Please.
Ancient folk saying, you can catch the devil, but you can't hold him long. Ask Brother Jerome, or Brother Christophorus, or David Ellington. They know, and they'll go on knowing, to the end of their days in the Twilight Zone.
More from the Twilight Zone after this.
You are about to enter another dimension, a dimension not only of sight and sound, but of mind, a journey into a wondrous land of imagination. Next stop, the Twilight Zone. Hi, this is Stacy Keach. I'd like to take a moment to tell you about our Twilight Zone website at twilightzoneradio.com. At twilightzoneradio.com, you'll find the latest information on these Twilight Zone radio dramas, including behind-the-scenes photographs, plus the newest product releases, trivia contests, ways to contact us, other Twilight Zone-related info and merchandise, plus links to other fascinating websites. So make your next stop twilightzoneradio.com.
Visit twilightzoneradio.com to purchase these Twilight Zone radio dramas on cassette and CD, or call toll-free 1-866-989-ZONE. That's 1-866-989-9663.
The Howling Man, starring Fred Willard, with Stacy Keach as your narrator, was adapted for radio by Dennis Etchison and written for The Twilight Zone by Charles Beaumont. Heard in the cast were Christian Stolte, David Darlow, Doug James, and Anna Sveruzza. To learn more about the Twilight Zone radio dramas and to obtain audio cassettes and CDs of these programs, visit our website at twilightzoneradio.com. The producers of The Twilight Zone wish to thank CBS Enterprises, Carol Serling, Dennis Etchison, Dick Brescia Associates, Claire Simon Casting, Terry Jennings, XM Satellite Radio, Sirius Satellite Radio, our sponsors, and our radio affiliates for helping make this series possible. This copyrighted radio series is produced and directed by Carl Amari and Roger Wolski for Falcon Picture Group. Doug James speaking.